Welcome to The Cloaked. We are a collective of inquiring minds seeking answers to mysteries both past and present. Join us on our journey to discover that which remains hidden. And now, on with the show.
All right, everyone. Good day, good morning, or good afternoon. I am White Owl.
Hi, I'm Sai.
This is Hoffman.
Hey, it's Pandora.
And today we have a special podcast, and it's concerning the mysterious cases of missing people. And they're pretty interesting and kind of unfortunate. I mean, because these people disappeared, and, you know, we don't have a whole lot of information on them. But I mean, we do have the little information we do have. It's quite interesting. And the first case here we have is with Sai. Sai, what do you got?
Yes, sir. Good evening, people. So this is about a young Brandon Swanson who apparently disappeared on May 14th, 2008. And so just to give a little background about Mr. Swanson here, he was a young teenager, almost reaching his 20s, and he was at that time currently enrolled in Minnesota West Community College and a technical college in Canberra, Minnesota, originally from Marshall, Minnesota. And this young man had ambitions to pursue the sciences, to pursue a degree in science where he was studying a wind turbine program. And so he had aspirations to do something with his life. And so he pursued college and apparently some degree in science. Apparently the last day of the school year in college, him and a couple friends decided to go to a bar and to celebrate the last day of school because summer was coming, and I guess all the hard work paid off. Eventually he was going to go to a 4-year college, so they wanted to celebrate his transition to a university. So around the time of 12 to 12:30 midnight, Brandon decided to make his way back to Marshall, Minnesota, where he was living with his mother and father. Unfortunately, he had an apparent accident where he wrecked his vehicle driving down a ditch on a gravel road, ultimately getting stuck. And so at that time, he couldn't get himself out. And so initially, he called his friends for assistance, but unfortunately, they did not answer their phones. Subsequently, he called his parents, Brian and Annette, for help, and thankfully his parents called back, and they asked him, hey, where you at? Is everything okay? And Brandon reassured his parents that everything was okay, but that he was stuck in the ditch and he couldn't get his car out. And so, as good parents are, apparently, they left their home of Marshall, Minnesota, to retrieve his son and his car in his ditch. And he indicated to his father that he was near a small town of Lynn, which is a kind of a short commute from Marshall, Minnesota. And throughout this time frame, Brandon would remain on the phone with his father, reassuring him like, hey, I'm still here. I just wanted to be on the phone just to make sure that we're on the same page. And so as soon as his father arrived at the location that Brandon specified, Brandon's father apparently started flashing his light just to indicate that he was nearby, and so that Brandon could tell that his father was at the location that Brandon specified. This is where things get a little weird.
Yeah.
So what happened apparently was that though Brandon's father was flashing his lights, Brandon couldn't see those lights. And so out of frustration, he started flashing his own lights from his car. His car was still working, but he couldn't get it out. So to help his dad out, he started flashing his own lights. And during that conversation, they both mutually got frustrated because none of them could see each other's cars.
Yeah.
And so that's and so I'm wondering, okay, well, it's a town that's a small commute from Marshall, and so he would have known exactly where he was at.
Yeah.
But apparently, after about an hour trying to look for him, his parents got frustrated, and so what his father decided to do was to drop his mom back home, which is weird. Cause wouldn't you want to be there with your Wouldn't they both want to be there until the son was found?
Well, why go all the way back and then
try like your son could be in danger, or what's the concern with that?
Or maybe your son's just drunk.
Okay, well we have something. Well, I got something with that too. So apparently, his father dropped his mother home, and around 2:10 a.m. about So when his father came back to look for his son, his son told his father while on the phone that, hey, I'm going to Lynn, and I can actually see the lights of the town. So he was like, the father was kind of okay with that, knowing that his son was near town, but that he was going to still come back to go pick up his son. 40 minutes into that conversation, around 2:10 a.m., his son all of a sudden says, "Oh shit." Not in a laughful manner, but something apparently happened right then and there where he just said, "Oh shit," and when I say "oh shit," like something kind of startles you or something's presented in front of you,
right?
And then the call drops, and so his father like, "Okay, what the hell's going on?" So I heard my son just say, "Oh shit," and then the call drops, and so this is where the theories come from. So after he said "oh shit" and the call dropped, his father apparently tried to call back, and this is where you kind of maybe put the pieces together. The phone wasn't disconnected because apparently his father could call him back, but he wasn't answering the phone. So was he being chased by somebody? Could it have been like a wild animal? Could it have been like he dropped in the river? But why would he have time to hang up the call and start? You would, in times of danger, you wouldn't just look at your phone, hang up, and then proceed to find your son. You would just drop the phone, and then apparently you can hear the shuffle.
Yeah.
If he's dropping down a river, or somebody try to like pick him up, why wouldn't he just keep the phone on? And so, this is where you guys come in. What do you guys think about? All of a sudden, he says, "Oh shit!" The call drops. His father calls back.
Yeah.
Did they recover the phone?
They did not recover the phone. This is what is very strange.
Yeah.
They recovered the car. The car was 20 miles away from the supposed location that Brandon said he was. But
so
this
it was moved, probably.
So either A, it was moved,
or
B, he was so drunk that he didn't know exactly where he was.
Well, his parents said that they would have noticed that he was drunk, but they said no, that he was not drunk, and his friends indicated...
He didn't sound drunk.
Huh?
He didn't sound drunk.
He didn't sound drunk, and his friend said he left without being drunk from the bar. He had like a shot or two of whiskey, and they felt that wasn't enough.
But I think their friends, his friends.
Well, this is a different perspective, but
yeah.
But then what about his parents?
Yeah, exactly.
His
Yeah, he was on that phone call for like 40-something minutes, right? So you would have noticed.
But what's the distance between the house and where he allegedly was?
Like a short commute, so maybe like 15-20 minutes.
I've carried out conversations with my parents pretty drunk.
Well, yeah,
pretty successfully.
Well, yeah. I mean, successfully. I mean, that's.
Mom, I'm okay.
So the thing is,
yeah, doing fine.
I'm just sad.
Oh shit.
And so, why would he be disoriented if he 20 miles is the largest distance from a location that you specified? So he said, I'm in point A, but the car was at point B. So, either he moved or the car was moved.
Or that, or the dad's completely incompetent. I mean, not to be able to find his own son, knowing the area. This is a small area.
Well, that's what's strange.
Like 20, what is it, 20 miles?
15-20 minutes, man. So, yeah.
15-20, I don't know, man. I can make that in 8 minutes, probably, the way I drive. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Like,
yeah, you don't want... No, I don't want to be in the car with you when you're driving.
Yeah, but... well, you know. But I mean, if this is a small area, to cover, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of room for anything to happen.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And it sounds. I mean, was there?
Does it sound fishy?
It sounds fishy as fuck.
Okay, good.
So, was there any insurance claims?
I read nothing about insurance claims, but.
Here's what I can see happening.
Okay.
Go ahead.
He told his parents he was somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
He could have been going out somewhere to buy drugs.
Right.
Right? So it's on
Okay.
the opposite side of town. I want my parents as far away from me when I'm buying drugs. Instead of on a wild goose chase.
Yeah.
Buy the drugs,
But he.
and then something up with the drug dealer.
Oh, you think they took him out?
Possibly.
Oh.
I mean,
well, I mean,
did he seem like he had money? I mean, did he seem?
Well, yeah, he was. Look, man, this guy was going to college. He was going to university to pursue the sciences, right? It's just any science degree, dealing with wind or whatever. So, would he be somebody of? Would that be a drug user? I mean, what's his attitude towards drugs?
Yeah.
You know, would he really try to pursue drugs? You know,
I mean, it's one of it's. I mean, if we go based on what the dad says, that actually
I think he's
occurred,
full of shit.
and we took that for truth. If somebody was to let's say the dad wasn't involved, and somebody wanted to take him out, you would hear a lot more ruffling. You hear maybe him screaming,
well,
or
that's
yelling,
what I'm saying.
or I mean, you would definitely hear profanity. To get in a fight.
So we got to
with
go
drug
back to the
dealer.
phone call. So
Yeah.
why did he hang up the call?
See, if the call just
Why would you have time to do
the
that?
call doesn't just drop.
The call
doesn't just drop. You know,
you're like, oh shit!
You
and
would
then
have to hang
up the phone. And so is it?
So there's a good chance he probably, I mean,
He could have accidentally hung up the call.
Could have, or he ran away.
Or aliens.
Oh.
He got abducted
Always aliens.
mid-call.
He could. I'm not gonna lie. I mean,
Signals do drop.
there's no signals in Mars. But see, look. So there's a couple theories.
They would explain why his phone wasn't.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a couple theories where like he could have been eaten by an animal, but there was no blood, and there was no clothing, anything.
I mean, but then it wouldn't add up because then you still would have found a phone. You would have.
They haven't found the phone, and that's the deal. Where'd the phone go?
And here's the thing. Okay, so how come if somebody must have turned off the phone, because you're actually able to call the phone back, and
it was still there. The battery was still on.
Depending who he had the phone.
He could have been with somebody too.
The phone company could ping the tower that he's closest to, and it will give him a general consensus of how far he was from that tower.
They searched 100 miles, 100-mile radius.
That's plenty of space for.
And they didn't find anything, no body, no shred of evidence, and so it's the parent's story versus Brandon's story versus his friend's story versus the police story. You got like four sides of this.
So what is the police's conclusion was on
that the last time they searched for Brandon was in 2011, and after that they stopped because there was no
other new findings.
There's nothing. They couldn't find anything, and so there was a couple theories where he got eaten by an animal or that he fell in the river. But if his phone was still on, you could have heard the water. The water. You could have heard something, and so that he could have gotten out of the water, and he could have died of hypothermia because you're in Minnesota. It's like really cold up there.
But somebody would have found his body by now.
They would have found his body.
I mean, because it starts to.
And I'm not sure about like what they found in his truck, his car. There was no.
You
know, they could have found anything like drugs in the car.
So if it was like marijuana, you would probably more than likely smell that shit. I mean,
and his friends had no other testimony. Well, he was kind of like plan A, he was gonna go get the drugs, or plan B to go see a girl. Yeah. Like they just nobody knew what was going on.
And that's the thing with friends. I mean, they're gonna cover you.
Yeah.
No matter what kind of shit you get into.
I wouldn't say anything. Like, I don't know. He was just having a good
time.
I don't know. The bar.
Be the grown man.
Yeah, exactly. I think if he would have fallen into the river or anything like that, I mean, you're looking at.
It just doesn't look.
Footprints.
It doesn't smell right. Doesn't.
Was it during the winter?
Yeah, they indicated that the river was really cold.
Yeah.
At least in fall. So he could have fallen off, but.
How far would have traveled?
I would say like you could have gotten out of. It was supposedly the river was like running fast, and so unless you're not that good of a swimmer.
I mean, also if he was actually drunk and he fell.
That's what I'm saying. Why couldn't he get back to his truck and just turn the heater on?
I mean, exactly.
And then you would have been all good.
So. I mean, he's probably drunk or high. He fell in the river and he floated away. You know,
he's in the ocean.
He's in the ocean somewhere. Yeah, but I mean.
Sleeping with the fishes.
It's possible. It's horrible. It's possible that more than likely that's probably the scenario.
That's a big theory. But there's
that's
no.
more than likely that's probably what happened. But then where's his body?
Man?
Where's
where's that body at?
How far has he traveled? I mean, there's.
It just doesn't seem. If we go beyond that theory, it just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Like it's fishy to me. I wish I knew more, but I wish I knew what they found in the truck. They didn't release that information. It would have been a better or different story.
Like, was the car clean? Was there?
We should file a.
But
was there stuff missing?
They didn't specify he left with anybody. He left.
Yeah, exactly.
But he didn't. He could have left with
somebody could
lady of the night.
Phone during the night.
What's that?
Was he on the phone?
Yeah, he was with his father, and then.
No. I mean, like at the bar with his
was he
friends.
texting anybody?
Oh, yeah.
Well, at that point,
did he have?
Well, I don't know that.
I mean, we got to go into did he have a Tinder account?
Oh man,
this
is 2008. I don't know if Tinder was.
We should look that up right now.
No, there was
Tinder back in the day.
Back then?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh, how long has it been around?
Oh, it's been around for a while, man.
I've been missing up.
Tinder. What's the guy's name again?
Brandon Swanson.
Are you on Tinder looking them up?
I'm trying to see what's on.
Oh my god.
I mean, yes, there was these dating apps back then. I mean, that's kind of around the time they started showing up. So
He's a funny looking kid. I'm sorry.
no, he is. I mean, maybe he was lured
He could have been.
by somebody,
But why hang up the damn phone? And so that's the
It doesn't
thing.
add up, yeah.
Like, why would you
unless
just hang
someone
up, like-
else was with him and hung it up
That's
for
right.
him before he can.
And what's that? Oh shit.
Maybe he was grabbed. Oh shit! And then boom, disconnected the call.
Or
and
is that even true? Is that even a true statement?
Exactly. I mean,
Did they make that up
we're
too?
basing it off on what the dad stated.
I suppose the testimony. Oh shit. And then well. And so I'm a little frustrated with this story because
Yeah,
there's a lot of loose ends here, and there's really not much substance to everybody's story.
Yeah, definitely not a whole lot of substance.
But
we'll definitely.
That's what I have, and please keep us updated.
Yeah, we'll keep tabs on that, and anything on that? No, right?
No Tinder.
It's
Tinder account.
What about a grinder?
Let's all right. Let's go on to the next case here with Hoffman. Hoffman, what do you got here for us?
I want to start off with the video. It's airport footage.
Oh yes, the airport footage.
Let's do it.
Of this kid. I shouldn't say kid. He's 28 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's pretty grown.
He's an adult.
He's an adult.
He's good enough.
Bolting from a room in an airport, running out to the parking lot, jumping an 8-foot fence with barbed wire.
Dang.
And there's conflicting stories out of this, but there's either a field of sunflowers or a forest that he runs into.
Field of sunflower sounds poetic in a way. That was the last time we saw him.
And yeah, no
That's-
one's
no,
seen
it's
Very
him
graceful.
since.
Very graceful.
But there may be something to that later on.
But this footage went viral.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I remember this.
Yeah. So we actually have to go back to a couple days before. Him and his buddies. His name is Lars Matank. Mid-tank.
Good enough.
One of those.
Well, I'm probably butchering it.
Lars the Tank.
Lars the Tank. There you go.
Well, they were on holiday in Bulgaria.
Right.
It's probably like one of the spots with like spring break. They were there during the World Cup, I believe.
Yeah.
And they were just celebrating. And one of the last nights that they were there, they went out to a bar called the Rock Bar. They started drinking it up, watching the game, and they ended up getting into an altercation with some patrons there that were from a rival team.
Oh.
And they got into a little bit of a scuffle. They ended up leaving.
Right.
And going to a McDonald's. Lars didn't go inside. He sat on a bench. His friends got the food, came back out, and he was gone.
From the bench outside of McDonald's.
From the bench outside McDonald's. So they went looking for him.
Is there footage of that?
No.
Okay.
But they went back to the hotel eventually, and he showed up in the morning.
Oh,
Right.
Okay.
Telling a story that he had gotten jumped
Why he was outside McDonald's?
by some thugs. He didn't say
Outside of McDonald's?
No, he didn't
Oh, he
specify
didn't say.
McDonald's. He said that he had gotten jumped by 4 guys.
Okay.
And that he had a pain in his jaw and in his ear.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
So the day that they were going to leave, which was that morning, his friends ended up taking him to a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor told him that he had a ruptured eardrum.
Oh man.
And he recommended not flying out with him.
Uh-huh.
So he decided to take a later flight.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, air pressure.
Yeah.
But a later flight, like days later?
Yeah.
Days
Oh,
later?
okay.
Later.
Okay,
So
yeah.
his friends would go on ahead and he would stay behind.
Yeah.
Somebody should have stayed behind with him.
Well,
Oh,
okay,
shit, friends you
okay.
have
Well,
there.
here we go. Well, I like this already. Let's go.
Well, the doctor prescribed him some antibiotic called Cefuroxime 500 and sent him on his way. Well, his friends ended up taking off. He called his mom telling him, hey, this is what happened. I need to stay behind for a couple more days. And I'll be home as soon as they let me go.
Mm-hmm.
And outside the hospital, it was a pretty shady area to begin with. He ended up staying into a hotel called Hotel Color,
Hotel Color?
which is marketed as a family hotel,
Okay.
All right.
but is full of women of the night.
Oh, women. Oh, yeah.
Women of
Lady
the
of the
Night.
Nights.
Yes.
I know those. I mean, by literature.
You want to rephrase that?
By literature. Just by literature.
You've heard of them.
Yeah. Literature class. Come on. All right.
And
Well, then.
this is where things start to get a little weird.
All right.
After checking into the hotel, he calls his mom and tells her to cancel his credit card.
What? Oh.
Right? So that's strike number 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
He then leaves the hotel a couple hours later with his luggage and starts fleeing. So the receptionist at the front says that the guy just got all his stuff and left.
Oh.
Bolted.
Right.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
He then calls his mom a couple hours after that, close to 2-3 o'clock in the morning, saying, I'm over the 4 men that are following me.
What?
He's over the 4 men that are following him.
He's over the 4 men?
Yeah.
Like he's like on top of them?
Yeah, like he's perched over them.
Oh.
So he doesn't specify if he's on a bridge, on a building.
Or like he's kind of like looking at them.
Yeah.
Okay.
He then sends his mom a text asking what CSC 500. What is CS or CXC 500?
The pills he was taking?
Yeah.
Or the meds?
And they're just antibiotic.
Yeah.
What? So he texts his mom
To know what
the
that-
prescription, the name of the prescription drug for his luggage.
What did I take?
Oh, what did I take?
Yeah, like what is
Oh, okay.
this? Because apparently he's having some sort of side effect to it.
Oh, like hallucinations maybe,
Yeah.
or like.
Okay.
He,
Oh shit.
Then he flags down a taxi, and there is a passenger and the taxi driver in there, and they both report seeing that his eyes were dilated and that he looked like emotionally exhausted.
Oh, okay.
All right.
All right.
Go
All
on,
right.
go on.
And
He shows up to the airport around 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
There's footage of him walking in calmly,
okay.
backpack, his luggage. And while on the way to the airport, he had called his mom, and his mom recommended, hey, you know what, just get on the plane, check yourself out with the doctor on site. We'll get you home as soon as possible so we can get the surgery done to repair your eardrum
Okay.
over here instead of getting it done there. Well, he checked into the medic that's there,
Mm-hmm.
was interviewing with the doctor, and someone knocked on the door in a uniform.
Oh my god.
And when he saw that, he bolted.
He freaked out.
You freaked out.
Oh my god.
So, a lot of things come to mind. He's carrying drugs, and he's high as fuck. I mean, I don't know if you ever seen Locked Up Abroad, but it sounds like Locked Up Abroad.
Deal gone bad.
A deal gone bad. I mean, so my experience with people who always go across these borders where drugs are carried in their secondhand countries, where they lay the drugs for a while and then they have somebody ship them or they have somebody move them.
You think he was a mule?
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe.
Because on some of these other cases, obviously this is just a theory, there's always like, when I'm hearing these guys who are locked up on, abroad, it's always like, my friends didn't know I was doing this. It's always something like that. The other people didn't know I was doing this. I stayed away, from them. I told them, hey, go ahead without me. I'll be right there with you, while they went to the restroom and, reassured themselves of the drugs on their body, whether they were consuming them or they was being duct taped to their bodies. And that's how,
consuming like little baggies.
Yeah,
man.
little bags. So that's kind of what it sounds like. I mean, he probably had anxiety. They probably made him either do this. He owed somebody. It could have been anything where, he needed the money for whatever reason, college education. I don't know, maybe he had some loans. Or who the hell knows? But, and always with these cases, if it was something like this, the money always sounds good. And it's one of those things where if you're desperate enough, you do whatever you need to do to get that money. Because sometimes from what these guys talk about, it sounds like they're getting paid.
Did he have a history of any kind of drug dealings or any kind of like negotiating?
If this was his first run, he would have had anxiety. He may have
would have been super nervous.
Well,
yeah, maybe mixed drugs.
Or maybe he's coerced into doing it for some reason.
Maybe
because he's got 4 people following him. Like maybe he didn't really want to do it, but they were like, "No, you're gonna do it." Like that's why he got beat up in the first place, or
or maybe he got beat up because they opened him up. They stuck drugs in him. Because for an eardrum, you typically would prescribe eardrops, not something orally, right?
Yeah.
So you open up his body cavity, you stick the stuff in, you don't want it to get infected immediately.
Yeah. So you take antibiotics prior.
Yep. And it could have been that one of the baggies or containers was leaking.
And he was high.
He was high.
Thinking that it was drugs that he was getting from the doctor, and it turned out one of the bags was leaking and he was getting...
he did get a prescription. They do have that he paid.
Oh, no, I'm saying he still got his prescription for it.
They could have given him a prescription. You gave him something else. If he was freaking out, they could have been in it too.
Yeah, he probably, if he wasn't familiar with whatever drug he was carrying, then he would have been freaking out, thinking it's whatever they prescribe versus whatever he has inside him. That's if Hoffman's theory is the likely candidate for that. But again, it sounds like that is a plausible theory, more than likely. What do you think?
4 men. Who could be these 4 men? Like Men in Black?
I don't know. The whole drug thing makes a little bit of sense just because it seems like there's some crazy paranoia, or if he really is being followed, it's possible, but just his reactions to everything, running around, the video, he just looks like he's running from something,
he's
big
definitely
time.
Running from something.
Or someone.
Someone.
You don't see anybody chasing him. He's just getting the fuck out of there.
Why wouldn't it be chasing him if he did something wrong?
Because again, he's doing something that he probably.
But you don't see bad guys or cops.
Also, what's the consequences of getting caught in the country?
What was the country again?
Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Bulgaria.
It doesn't sound good.
No,
because there's if you get caught in Vietnam or Taiwan or South Korea,
Or North Korea.
It's
Don't
a lot.
don't go
Just
there.
don't go there.
Being caught with drugs in those countries is a lot more severe.
You're gonna get
than
hanged. They'll hang
that's
you.
what I'm saying. You could get life in some of these other countries.
Death.
And so especially being a foreigner,
Just don't do
you know,
it.
you're definitely more than likely.
Oh, as a
Looking at
foreigner,
for
like
life.
that's disrespect. Like you're like
Yeah,
trying
that's what I'm
to.
saying. You more than likely
dirty that country.
You probably won't get death, but you more than likely gonna get life.
And there's no way
some
back.
of these other severe countries.
There's no way back.
Because and again, there's these documentaries out there.
Those lock up abroad shows.
Those
Oh my
lock-up
god,
abroad
they
shows.
freak me
Scary.
out, man.
Scary as because some people sometimes, again, like Pandora was saying, they get into these situations and they're forced to do it. You know, because you know if he did get jumped by these 4 individuals, they could have taken his wallet. He had an ID. The ID has his address. They threatened his family. You know, hey, we have connections over there. If you don't do this, we'll harm your mom. What are you gonna do then?
But the mom called him.
Has
Yeah,
anybody?
They didn't really. But
The mom
didn't go that far
yeah,
yet.
well, no, but like, why would the mom know? The mom's not gonna know because they're threatening his son. We have somebody, and whenever
They're
if
gonna
you don't-
wait.
If you don't do it,
They're gonna use it as leverage. And when you don't do it, then we're gonna
and so you know,
call that mama.
yeah, exactly.
So
Give her the
3
chop.
levels of drugs in Bulgaria. High risk medicine and not acceptable.
And what?
Not
Not
acceptable.
acceptable?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
okay.
not
There
acceptable.
you go.
Just don't
Not
do it.
acceptable. Don't do it.
Possession of the use of drugs can result from a fine of 1,000 to 10,000 lev. I'm assuming that's their currency.
Yeah, the currency. Yeah.
And the use of high risk drugs is imprisonment.
Oh.
There you go.
Distribution or smuggling offenses
Uh-huh.
are punished by much higher fines and longer periods of imprisonment.
Yep.
So that's why he ran.
That.
Has anybody talked to this doctor though that prescribed him the medicine? Like,
Yeah,
is this
was-
a real doctor? Was this a real operation?
Was it
You know what I mean?
Doctor.
It's a real doctor, but a lot of the stuff is still in German. So we need a translator.
Doctor. Tu sabes, doctor.
Dr. Feelgood.
Doctor feel good.
Street
the
pharmacist.
Shiza.
Dr. Dre. I mean, you know. He's a doctor, right? He gives that stuff. Right?
Gives out records.
I think he's an honorary doctor.
He's an honorary
Honorary doctor, dude.
Just like Shaq.
Oh, that's blasphemy, dude. That goes against all the.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably the nature of the situation and based on what country he's in. I mean, based
I
we're
like
going
that.
based
The
on the country
generality.
he's in. We're gonna generalize the shit out of this
Yeah,
country,
generalize the shit out of
which is
everything.
horrible.
So the antibiotic he was given was used for bacterial infections,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
sinus infections, throat infections,
And-
Lyme disease, and gonorrhea.
Okay, is that
Shit.
is
That's
that
pretty
drug-
diverse.
Is that something that would possibly be given to someone who is carrying drugs on inside their body? Is that like a common thing?
No, it's a substitute to penicillin.
Okay.
It's for people that are allergic to penicillin.
I was gonna say, what if he had an allergic reaction to this? I mean,
Could be.
Maybe.
But him,
I doubt
he's
it.
acting all
No, but I mean,
crazy. So
Yeah.
So we don't have anything that would say that that's something that whichever antibiotic would be that someone would take if they got opened up to carry drugs.
Oh. The
I'm going on the drug theory because that sounds more than likely.
side effects are diarrhea, dizziness, headache, drowsiness, itchiness, swelling, rash.
Because to me,
nausea.
it would make sense that he would all of a sudden
but he's running
not
away,
know
man. So
that he's high as fuck.
He's probably high as fuck. I agree with that. He's probably
And
geeked
he's
out of his
tripping out,
mind.
and he thought he was gonna probably get in trouble because.
so he's going with the theory that like he's high and he's possibly being a drug mule. He ran, but like where did he go? You know what I mean? Like
Who the fuck?
if he OD'd or whatever, like where's
So
Oh,
this
did
hap-
they ever? Yeah, did they ever run?
So this happened in 2014. Just when was this?
Any updates?
2016 December. A guy showed up in Brazil that looks oddly like him.
Like how much like him? 90%, 80%?
So they have a headshot of
Side by
him.
side.
Really?
A headshot of him. right?
Oh wow.
Oh shit! It is him.
No. That's generator one.
Okay.
He would look.
Oh, like
Well, yes, it is him then.
Definitely
an
him.
age progression picture.
They just slapped a beard on him, but I mean,
Oh, okay. Oh.
That's the guy that showed up in Brazil.
Yeah, definitely.
he looks like he's been homeless for years, or just like.
Not very severe.
Looks like the Unabomber, dude. He looks like.
Is this guy like coherent, conscious, or does he know who he is?
Nope.
Post that to.
Shit. What if he got like lobotomized or something?
Maybe he could have been.
Yeah, it would explain his
Hannibal Lecter.
Not knowing who the fuck he is. I mean,
where he is, what is he doing. I mean, wow.
they should DNA test him or something.
Someone should do it. I mean, just in case, is the mom's still alive?
Yeah, she's still looking for him.
I mean, if we could do a DNA test, we can get on that. Anybody?
Yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it.
Definitely have $2,000 to burn.
That's how much it costs? I got a lot more.
That's it?
We don't need to show off, man.
No. I'm just saying.
We got
I got that money, man.
I got this.
I got bills to pay, man. All right, well.
That's
I like it.
Hopefully, there'll be an update on that in the future.
We'll talk to Yuri. He's got the answer. Fuck Yuri.
Yuri got some money. We'll find Yuri. He's out there in the world, traveling from one spot to the next. Pandora, you have another case?
Yes, I have. I looked into Iwona Wieczorek. I hope I'm saying that right.
Sounds about right to me.
Doesn't sound like how it's spelled, but I mean that's
Yeah.
how they pronounce it. So she was Polish, and I feel like I should mention this because today is July 17th, 2017, and she actually went missing July 17th, 2010.
Yeah.
No shit.
So this is the anniversary of her disappearance, which we didn't plan that at all, but it's kind of weird.
Uh-oh.
So what do you
Well,
guys
ghost in here, man.
So you
no
planned
more.
this,
No
man.
more.
You had to have planned.
No, we didn't.
Yes, I waited months for this.
That's right.
I just realized that like a little while ago, but
I made sure that we recorded on a very specific date.
it's not even when people will hear this, but anyway.
Yeah.
So basically what happened with Iwona is that she's 18 at the time when she disappeared. She just graduated high school, and she sounds a little bit like a party animal, like a lot of people that age, going to college, just doing a lot of going out, partying, drinking.
Living life.
Yeah, like everybody does. But so what happened with her is she went out with some friends. She went out with one friend that she knew named Adria, and they went out to this just party, and she ends up leaving this party to go to a club. And the only person she knew in the group of friends that she took off with was this girl Adria. The other three was these three guys that she didn't really know. She'd known them for about a month maybe, and it was Powell, Marek, and Adrian. And apparently when they're at this club, they have some kind of argument go down between them. Nobody really knows what happened, but she ends up leaving, and she's kind of ticked off. Her friend Adria doesn't really go with her, so she's upset that the friend didn't really back her up. She doesn't really have money. Her phone's about to die, and it's late. It's about 4 a.m. and she starts trying to walk home. She's club attire, so she's wearing high heels, and her walk to get home is 6 kilometers, so pretty long. She ends up texting people on her way, including the friend, and they end up texting back and forth. They never disclose these texts, so we don't know really what the conversation was about, but apparently they, text back and forth, and then they're cool with each other. Then around 4 a.m., she calls Adria for the last time, saying that her phone's dying, that, she's going to head to this friend's house. She's like, I'm a little bit drunk. I don't want my parents to see me like this, so she's just gonna, wait it out at the friend's house. So the last footage that you see of this girl walking home is on this thing, kind of at the ocean. It's called Seaside Boulevard. She's walking. You see her on the footage. She's walking barefoot, carrying her high heels. You do see this one guy that is walking some yards behind her, and he's got a plaid shirt, and he has this towel over his shoulder, and he's the only one really that's walking around her. and that is the last time you ever see her. Basically, from there on out, I mean, nobody knows what happened to her. If she was taken by this guy, if she, you know, got hurt, got kidnapped. There's a couple theories with this. You know, one that the people at the club may have done something to her. Those guys that she didn't really know. There's another theory that, you know, this guy who was following her with the towel on his shoulder could have done something to her, or even there's apparently there was like a truck stop close by, so some people thought maybe she got kidnapped by somebody there.
Maybe.
Yeah, but a lot of people think that she ended up that she maybe still be alive, that she maybe just got you know, kidnapped and taken into sex trafficking, which is pretty common. So there's been a lot of clues that popped up that weren't really anything. They didn't lead to anything. So they had found a towel and a sand dune, and you know, they couldn't really tie it to her. They had found a bone. It was turned out to be not human. It turned out to be an animal bone, and yeah. So I mean, really, just a lot of unanswered questions. Like, nobody knows why she's trying to walk home at night at 4 a.m. with heels. You know, like, why didn't she take a bus? Why didn't she try to get a ride?
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe she did get a ride. Like, maybe that's what went
She
wrong.
was going to.
Somebody offered her a ride,
Yeah,
and she shouldn't have taken
Somebody
it.
just kind of was devious about it.
I mean, she was drunk, so, you know, poor judgment probably.
I mean, I seen Taken.
So
Dude, this reminded me of Taken so much.
Yeah,
like,
no, seriously. She had confidence in somebody, and then somebody took advantage of her.
Find you and I'll kill you.
That reminds me more of what's that one
Taken?
where she lives in the shed?
Taken?
Is it Taken?
Nobody lives in a shed in Taken. What are you talking about?
In the shed?
Yeah.
How old is this
Boy.
movie? And who plays what? Who? Where?
He said, boy?
I think it's boy.
Boy?
Yeah.
And he lives in the shed.
Well, his mom gets raped, and the boy is the offspring of the person that kidnapped.
Lives in the shed?
We'll get to this later.
We'll watch it later.
It's a good movie, yeah, great.
Well, I'm sure it is, but I mean, shit. I don't
So
know.
there was actually another theory that I mean, it didn't really lead to anything, but apparently she had dated a guy who was a cop as well, and then they broke up. And apparently he was seen circling around where she lived a couple times, and so
Stalker.
yeah, so maybe a little bit of stalkerish
has
behavior.
anybody gone to see if maybe he's keeping her somewhere? Maybe in storage unit, an old property that may be not on under his name.
I mean, like, this guy was.
People have been kidnapped for years, man, and then released.
Well, I mean,
so she could.
there's cases of recent time that.
Should be 25 now.
Yeah.
She could still go to college, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
That's being optimistic.
Very
real.
optimistic. No, but I mean, there's people that have been found keeping other people in.
Yeah, recently.
Recently, there was a case up in New
That
York.
guy who killed a couple of people, and then they found the girl
They found
he'd
the
been
girl
keeping
chained.
for like a couple months.
Yeah, and that what was it? Those ship compartments, those big shipping
containers.
Shipping containers.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But he had like killed her boyfriend
Killed her boyfriend.
and a couple other people before that, and
Yeah.
I mean, he was just
A
keeping
couple.
her alive,
Like,
but
like couples.
yeah, he
Oh,
was
yeah?
attacking
He
couples.
was attacking couples.
Yeah.
Oh shit! All
Thought that
right.
But you know, it's. I mean, it's not
What's going on?
far-fetched. It's very plausible that she was definitely she trusted somebody, and that trust got taken advantage. And she, I mean, these probably investigators thinking that she probably got sent into sex slavery, but that it's very possible, or chopped up. I mean, or she's being kept somewhere.
Yeah.
And you know, there's been a lot of cases where, you know, these women they get locked up somewhere, chained to a wall or some whatever, and you know, they're just being kept there like a pet.
Well, it's like those
Pretty
three
messed
women
up,
that
man.
got
Pretty
found in
messed
that
up.
house
I was just gonna
that
mention that the 3 women that
were
got
there
found
for
in the
10
house.
years. Yeah.
And they
That's what I'm
had
talking
kids.
about. That's
they
the one.
had kids.
One kid. Yeah.
That's
Or
That's
one
the
kid.
shit I'm
That's one of
talking
those
about.
things.
Man,
It's definitely
strange ass people, man.
It's strange and bizarre. I mean, there's definitely people out there that.
What?
Did you guys hear that they're releasing Charles Manson from prison?
For sure.
No.
No, that's wrong. That's a fake.
That's wrong.
No, should you
Just
know?
don't do it.
Who told you that?
It's on the news,
The
man.
news.
The news.
They're gonna find his body somewhere.
How old is he
Something
now?
good
How old
He's
is
fucking old.
he's like 75 now, right?
Probably.
I'm sure. You know, he has like a little weird cult following too. Some weirdos.
He has a huge cult following. Anyways, back to the case.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think?
I don't know, man. This is she could have. So you got the police ex-boyfriend. She could have been abducted and sold into sex slavery, which is, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody.
Is that like high in?
Well, it's illegal, but it's
It's
not
high in Europe.
uncommon for it to happen. To
Yeah.
people.
Oh, it's high
So,
in Europe, isn't it?
The theory on
Very high
that,
in Europe.
there was another theory that some people said maybe she was a call girl, and the people she was with were actually her clients.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
was the girlfriend for the night.
Yeah.
Possibly.
escort.
And the other thing
And then
is
they chopped her up.
And the cop found out.
Oh,
The cop boyfriend
throw
You
a
got
wrench in
jealous.
there.
got jealous. And
he chopped her up
he got upset that found out
with
that
that baton. Sorry.
That's
All right.
Magic
very
wand.
detailed there.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
apparently there was a sex dating site that's used by prostitutes in the area that there was this profile that allegedly looked like her, but it was deleted. So she's one of those missing people whose image got shared like crazy. So it's possible that maybe they took it down just because she's gonna get recognized pretty quickly.
Recognized
She
and
just
then-
had that kind of media
yeah.
attention,
Or they
It's
just did
definitely
it as
possible.
like a really bad joke.
possibly too.
Or she really did.
Why
work
would
for
you even want
company.
that tied to you though? Like you're already doing illegal shit. Like why do you want the cops coming after you for that?
Yeah, I have friends that signed me up for meet black people online.
Oh, how's that going?
Are you meeting anybody?
I was
yet?
wondering why I was getting some random text and photos, and I was like,
You need your friends.
It's messed up.
I wouldn't do that to you, man.
I don't know who your friends are, but
It's us. It's great.
you win.
Damn it.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, man. This is a weird one. She's walking around at 4 a.m. Like literally anybody could have taken this girl.
Wait, what city was it? Because there's some of those European cities.
She was at a club that was in Sopot.
Sopot.
Sopot. I don't know if I'm saying
Is
that
that
right.
Poland?
Yeah, this is Poland, but
So I'm familiar with Poland. It's one of the places retro.
yeah, I mean it's kind of a populated area. I mean, there's
Yeah.
like a little like
It's not
seaside.
It's not a small place.
Yeah, there's a beach, and there's also, I mean, there's around the area, it gets a little rough. Like, there's like, actual wilderness. But people are saying, well, I mean, if somebody really tried to drag her into the wilderness, like, it's rough going into there, especially when you're trying to like drag a body or an unconscious person.
Yeah.
So,
Seems
wouldn't
like a
be
lot of
easy
hassle.
trekking.
Like it seems like a lot of hassle for anything like that.
Yeah, there is also
desperate people, man. Desperate people.
there's also I guess a comment saying that one of her friends crashed a car that night, and so they don't
Maybe
really
she
know.
was in the car
Maybe she was in
and
the
she
car and
died.
they got rid
she
of
was
her
severely
somehow.
hurt.
They got rid of her?
They
Just
got-
like that?
Yeah, I mean that.
I mean, they could have panicked and just
Hey,
like.
people panic, man. People panic when something like
dump her
that.
friend
They
out
dump
there?
some real dumb shit.
Well, they weren't even like the only one friend she had was this
The
chick
one
Adria, who wasn't
friend
really.
She
She didn't really have her back.
did not have her back at all. That's pretty messed
I
up.
don't know about that. Oh, man, that's just weird. God bless her, and hopefully we'll find you
Hopefully
soon.
she's still alive, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully
no.
she's found alive.
We'll send some prayers out.
Yeah. And all right, so our last and final story here is from Kaylin Lauder, who was 30, from Murray, Utah. Kaylin here, there's actually footage out there on the internet that definitely went viral. And I'll describe the video here, and we'll be posting this all the footages that we'll be able to have, and some of the other investigations that are related. So with Kaylin, there's a CTV footage of her at her apartment complex, and you see her walking her dog, and it's in the rain, and she's out there for for a little bit, and she's walking her dog, and then she heads back inside, and as she heads back inside, she the footage doesn't go on obviously, but she then comes back outside, and it's raining. And so, in that footage, it's a little odd. She's out there walking around, and she appears to be talking to herself. And she's not on a cell phone or anything like that. She's just speaking to herself. And it's the last footage that we have of Caitlin. And so she's walking about in the parking lot, and she's making some weird gestures, walking around, and it's pouring rain, and she walks off. You don't see her, and that's the last moment in time that you see her alive. And so, going back to hours beforehand, on the day she went missing, she made a 911 call of She reported an intruder in her apartment. She lived with a roommate. We'll definitely also be releasing the 911 call on our Facebook and Twitter page. And you get to hear her voice. You hear her speaking to the operator, and she's describing that there is an intruder in her house. So she doesn't really see the person or the people that are in her home, but she definitely describes that there's somebody inside. She hears them moving around, and there's I guess several points within the 911 call that she's yelling to the intruder to leave. She's yelling, whoever's in there. And you hear her voice, and you definitely get the feeling that there's someone in there with her. She definitely feels that there's somebody in there, and you hear the fear in her voice, and you're like, as you're hearing it, you're like, go hide somewhere, or lock yourself in your room, don't go out there, run, jump out of the window, get a baseball bat, a knife, kitchen knife, whatever. So you hear it, and you're like, okay, what's going on? Where's the police at this point? And so you hear her, and then whenever they find the police get there, they look into her apartment. They search her apartment. Her apartment's locked.
Okay.
It's bolted, in fact. They find no window broken, no other point of entry. They find nothing that would indicate that somebody actually broke into her apartment. So you're like, okay, what's going on? But it's super weird. Like it doesn't make any sense how they're able to go to her apartment, and everything's locked from the inside, and there's no intruder. But based on the footage, she obviously leaves. She leaves her place, and her roommate states that it was very odd for her to just leave like that, and then to make this call that there's no other issues with there's no issues with neighbors or anything like that. But they go, and she states that apparently she had some kind of altercation at a wedding. That's I guess the night prior to this supposed intruder. Or intruders, because she actually, during the call, she actually states that she heard
like two,
appears to be two people having a conversation or something like that.
Yeah,
and
weird.
So
Weird.
Yeah, so so everything is just not adding up, and it sounds weird. And so, okay, so then there's this altercation apparently at a wedding, and it's with another, I guess, man, a male, right? Mm-hmm. And so, was it the male? Was this person from the wedding? Was that person involved in her disappearance? And so, she goes out and she walks off in the rain, and so there's the police. After she goes and she disappears, the police actually released the video, trying to see if anybody knows any of her whereabouts, where she went missing. So there was, and within the short distance, there's not really a whole lot of places where she could have gone. She could have taken a bus. They really don't know. Her neighbors usually saw her walking her dog. They really don't have a whole lot of possible motives of anybody having any issues with her. Cops, from the reports, they just say, well, she randomly went missing, and then they concluded that she may have committed suicide due to her issues with depression and anxiety, because that's something that was reported that she was going through, issues with depression and anxiety. But while this all occurred, so this occurred in September 27, 2014, and then in December 2nd, 2014, they actually find her body, and so they tried to do an autopsy, but unfortunately, because of the weather, they weren't able to determine what was the cause of her death. And with exposure and everything, they just weren't able to do a whole lot of in-depth. So they weren't able to find anything as far as the toxicology. They weren't able to find anything as far as illegal substance of any sort. Also, it could have been due to the exposure that they weren't able to find a whole lot. She definitely, her friends and family state that she wouldn't just leave her dog. Also, her car and her keys and her wallet.
She was found without shoes, money, or a phone?
Yes.
Right?
Without shoes, money, or a phone.
Or that she left without all those things.
Yeah, she left with all those things. So she just wouldn't just leave like that.
Like, who does that?
Yeah. Unless you're like...
Unless you just went for a walk, but then at the same time, how do you come back without your fucking keys? Unless you're that absent-minded.
And you locked yourself out of the apartment.
Or you locked yourself out of the apartment. Or you locked yourself out of the apartment because maybe there was somebody in your apartment. And, out of fear, you just took off. But then it doesn't make any sense because then the front door was bolted. They weren't able to find any entry points.
So who bolted the door?
So then who locked up the apartment? Was there somebody still in there?
Did she have a spare? Just tossed it?
Was there a spare? Was their roommate possibly involved? We have here so little information as far as what a possible motive, other than this apparent altercation at a wedding. And then the other issue would be the intruders, or the alleged intruders. So we don't have a lot on that as far as, okay, so was anything found? Was there prints found in the apartment that didn't belong to Kaylin or the roommate? And even if they did, whose prints are those? If they did find anything, was there any of those connected to the person that she had the altercation at the wedding? There's just a lot of questions. And so, with her body being found, you have all these questions of what happened to her. Was she strangled? Was she poisoned? It's one of those things. Did she? I mean, if she drowned, they would have known by the damage in her lungs, right?
They would have asphyxiation by drowning.
Yeah, they would have been able to determine that. So
she was found in some like body of water, right? But
yeah.
like it wasn't. She
dead,
left in rain, in like a rainy situation, but at the same time there wasn't enough water to like carry her body, I guess. To say like, oh, she got swept up in a current, like it wasn't that kind of situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of it gets attributed that hey, she may have committed suicide. Maybe. Because they're assuming that there's no foul play because they're not able to find anything. So, other than the fact that she did say there was these intruders, she had been recently let go from her job. There was some concerns, but I mean, other than that, they didn't. I guess her friends and family didn't think that this possible suicide was plausible by her. It just didn't seem like her character, even though she. And I mean, I don't know a whole lot about depression and anxiety. It's one of those things where you definitely need someone who's dedicated to that to be able to determine what's true in her nature. But yeah, it's just like what could have happened. I mean, does it sound like she may have committed suicide?
Didn't she just like lose her job?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. She did.
She was like in and out of jobs, I think, for some time.
But I mean, if she's in and out of jobs, then you're roughing it.
Well, why though?
Why she's automatically
commit suicide?
Herself,
Well, I'm curious why she's in and out of jobs. Is it by choice, or is it because she's being fired? And if so, why? Is it like her not being competent or acting weird?
I mean,
or like, was there stuff leading to this? You know what I mean? Like, was there anything like in her jobs where she was acting weird and being let go? Or, I mean,
man, I don't know, man.
There's not enough info on that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of information, and this is the conclusion that the police are, determining that this is possible. But even then, the police themselves say, even with that conclusion, the evidence doesn't add up to her committing suicide, and her mother herself doesn't believe it. Again, her mother stated that she spoke to her daughter on the day of her disappearance. She didn't seem that she was behaving strangely or out of the ordinary, and just that committing suicide wasn't in the realm of possibility.
It reminds me of a couple things, like the whole being seen like motioning at stuff that may or may not be there.
She does do that. And
yes, it reminds me of Eliza Lamb quite a bit.
She definitely does these weird hand gestures while she's out there, and people found it curious that the police would release this video in just a short time. The other thing is that I don't know. It just doesn't add up. It just really, it really doesn't add up. Why just go off and then, commit suicide like that?
Why leave like in the middle of rain with no shoes and none of your things you would normally grab?
Maybe she's just crazy.
But see, that's what I feel like this gets. Like they automatically go to that, like, oh well, she's
schizophrenic.
Yeah, like has delusions or whatever. But I mean, if they've not shown that kind of history,
they snapped.
Yeah,
they could have snapped.
Psychic break.
Yeah, you can only go so far. But hey, I'm just saying.
Well, that's psychologist, so don't take our word for it.
Just a little opinion.
And it just seems really odd of what. They found her body again in water, just like Miss Lamb.
True. And we don't really know if they drowned.
We don't know if they're drowned or
I mean, that's kind of what they went with, but
yes, it's kind of similar. There's definitely some similarities with that. There's just a lot of room for error for the officers to create. Just because, when you don't ask the right questions during that time, or you don't look into the right areas. I mean, did they talk to the person she had an altercation with? Did she have any issues with any other of the neighbors? Other than, they believe she didn't. All her stuff was there. Her apartment wasn't broken into. Again, it goes back to, did somebody break into her apartment? No, there's no evidence of that.
There's no motive of like them being mugged or burglarized,
exactly.
whatever.
And, again, like why leave barefoot? If she was gonna go somewhere, she would have taken. She had a bike. She could have taken her bike. She could have gone on the bus. There was a bus stop, where she lived. Things weren't really far for her, or there you can't say there was no way of transportation. It is possible that she may have ran into somebody, maybe somebody that it was stalking her or following her. We really don't know. We really don't know what happened to her. I mean, we don't have a whole lot of information, even with her body being found. It actually raises more questions.
What happened?
Of what happened. I mean, if she was, still missing, we would have, well, where is she? Is she still alive? Kind of thing. Now we found, the body's found, and it's more like, okay, well, who did this? Why?
Why would they want to?
How?
What's their interest? What's their?
What was the
benefit?
purpose? It raises a lot more questions, and it's definitely unfortunate because you have here her mother trying to, put all this into this big fuck of a puzzle. Trying to figure out who did this and why. Why her daughter? What was it? Something that her daughter was into? Wrong people, the wrong crowd. Maybe she was on drugs. We unfortunately don't have a whole lot of information. It goes back to drugs. All this goes back to drugs. I mean,
do not do drugs, people.
Always do a drug test on yourself so we know whether you were on drugs or not.
Why would you
bring back the air?
I mean, because you have an interview at a job where they're going to drug test you, so then you purge yourself,
prepare.
And then you got to prepare, yeah?
You gotta prepare, man.
I mean, you would only have to do that if you were doing drugs.
I mean, you were, yeah.
No, just in case.
No, just in case. It's very unfortunate, that, she's, found without a life. And so, we'll never know. We'll never know unless somebody saw something. And that, there's always somebody out there that saw something and just doesn't come forward until
You don't want to say anything.
don't want to say anything. And there could be a serial killer, out there. I mean, going across country. If you think about it this way, what if there was a serial killer making, or was creative in a way that was their signature? The way Eliza Lamb was found, the way Kaylin Hero was found.
Damn it!
Something to do. It goes back to my original theory of an occult.
Mind blown.
Or a group of individuals doing something with water, as far as
like a water ritual.
Like a water ritual.
Like a sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
God damn.
Yeah, it goes back to that. It was something about water. It's just we'll have to do more investigating to see if there's anything related to occults and
we
water.
can do, yeah. Eventually, we got to do something.
We'll definitely look into that. Any final thoughts?
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs and
drugs, kids.
In foreign countries, especially.
Don't go in foreign countries.
Don't sneak drugs in Russia, because they'll chop you up real quick. Or anywhere else, just don't do it. Just be a nice person.
Don't be a mule.
And call your grandma. Make sure she's okay.
Call your grandma. Make sure she's okay. Yeah. Hoffman.
Sorry. That's the only way
you gotta make sure grandma's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, there's so many apps nowadays. Like you can tell people where you are, or like when you got home. Like people just have to be aware of their surroundings. Cause
just look at your Snapchat. That's where it is.
You gotta make sure you're aware of the people who you surround yourself with, because sometimes they're not. They could be not who they say they are.
Oh yeah.
I'll just leave it with this. FBI is currently tracking 25 to 50 active serial killers in the United States right now.
God damn, that many?
There's more than that, but that's
the ones we know of.
That's the ones we know of.
What if there's a serial killer who likes to like slowly kind of mess with people as far as like making them have delusions, or I don't know, somehow drugging them or making them kind of seem like they're losing it
in front of a video surveillance or security?
I mean, maybe not. Like, it sounds kind of like far-fetched and complicated, but
it goes back to what I was.
But it's the perfect cover, because then the cops are lazy and they're just like, oh yeah, well, I mean, they got fired, so obviously they were sad and wanted to die. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just goes straight to that.
The conclusions always jumped into that they were sad and they lost their job. No one that I know of that has lost their job gets severely sad and depressed and decides to commit suicide.
Not most of them, I would say.
Yeah.
I mean, but these are exceptions.
There's exceptions, but I mean, people that seemed fine and then all of a sudden it's just like they just completely lost it and drowned themselves.
I wouldn't kill myself, that's for sure.
If you worked at McDonald's, you're not going to go and...
No,
obviously,
I mean,
it's fucking McDonald's.
I don't want to talk about it.
That's all I had.
Let's all be happy.
I couldn't fuck this up.
Yeah.
No,
it's one of those things. I mean, hopefully, these other individuals that are still missing are found alive.
You got more information
or maybe somebody else has information out there and is holding out, and they should share the information so these people are found and delivered back safely to their families.
Please.
Definitely. All right, and with that, we conclude. Definitely rate us on iTunes, because that's how our audience is definitely found. How else were our amazing people that are following us right now and our big supporters. Big shout out to them.
Appreciate that.
We definitely appreciate our listeners. And if you have any other thoughts and ideas of future podcasts, future episodes, definitely send us some suggestions.
Or if you've seen these people,
or also any clues of any sort, definitely email us at thecloakedpodcast@gmail.com. And definitely, again, follow us on Facebook at The Cloaked Podcast or on Twitter at @thecloaked_. All right, and with that, take care, be safe.